Assalamu alaikum students. Hafiz Nabil Ahmed here. Fundamental of e-commerce week 3 topic technology infrastructure, the internet and the world wide web. An internet is a group of computer networks that have been interconnected. In fact, internet is short for interconnected network. One particular internet which uses a specific set of rules and connects networks all over the world to each other is called internet. The part of the internet known as the World Wide Web, or more simply the web, is a subset of a computers on the internet that are connected to one another in a specific way that make them and their contents easily accessible to each other. The most important thing about the web is it includes an easy to use standard interface. This interface makes it possible for people who are not computer expert to use the web to access a variety of internet resources. Internet protocols. A protocol is a collection of rules for formatting, ordering and error checking data sent across a network. For example, protocols determine how the sending device indicates that it has finished sending a message and how the receiving device indicates that it has received or not received a message. A protocol also includes rules about what is allowed in a transmission and how it is formatted. Computers that communicate with each other must use the same protocol for data transmission. The first packet switch network, the ARPANET, connected only a few universities and research centers. Following its inception in 1969, the experimental network grew during the next few years and began using the Network Control Protocol (NCP). In the early days of computing, each computer manufacturer creates its own protocol. So computers made by different manufacturers could not be connected to each other. This practice was called proprietary architecture or closed architecture. NCP was designed so it could be used by any computer manufacturer and was made available to any company that wanted it. This open architecture philosophy developed for the evolving ARPANET, which later became the core of the internet, included the use of a common protocol for all computers connected to the internet and 4 key rules for message handling. Number 1, independent networks should not require any internal changes to be connected to the network. Number 2, packets that do not arrive at their destinations must be retransmitted from their source network. Third, router computers act as receive and forward devices. They do not retain information about the packets that they handle. No global control exists over the network. TCP IP. The internet uses two main protocols, the Transmission Control Protocol TCP and the Internet Protocol IP. Developed by the Internet pioneers Vinton Cerf and Robert Kahan, these protocols are the rules that govern how data moves through the Internet and how network connections are established and terminated. The acronyms TCP IP is commonly used to refer to the two protocols. The TCP controls the disassembly of a message or a file into packets before it is transmitted over the internet, and it controls the reassembly of those packets into their original format when they reach their destinations. The IP specifies the addressing details for each packet, labeling each with the packet's origination and destination address. Soon after the new TCP IP protocol set was developed, it replaced the NCP that ARPANET originally used. In addition to its internet function, TCP IP is used today in many LANs, local area networks. IP addressing. The version of IP that has been in use for the past 20 years on the internet is Internet Protocol version 4, IPv4. It uses a 32-bit number to identify the computers connected to the internet. This address is called an IP address. Computers do all of their internet calculation using a base 2 or binary number system in which each digit is either a 0 or a 1, corresponding to addition of either off or on. IPv4 uses a 32-bit binary number that allows for more than 4 billion different addresses. IP number appears as 4 numbers separated by periods. This notation system is called dotted decimal notation. An IPv4 address is a 32-bit number, so each of the 4 numbers is an 8-bit number. In most computer applications, an 8-bit number is called a byte. However, in networking applications, an 8-bit number is often called an octet. In binary, an octet can have values from 00000000 to 11111111. The decimal equivalent of these binary numbers are 0 and 255 respectively. Today, IP addresses are assigned by 3 not-for-profit organizations. These registries assign and manage IP addresses for various parts of the world. The name of these organizations are American Registry for Internet Numbers, ARIN, RIPE, and APNIC. In early days of the internet, the 4 billion addresses provided by the IPv4 rules certainly seems to be more addresses than an experimental research network would ever need. Network engineers have devised a number of stopgap techniques to stretch the supply of IP addresses. One of the most popular technique is subnetting, which is the use of reserved private IP addresses within LANs and WANs to provide additional addresses space. Private IP addresses are a series of IP numbers that are not permitted on packets that travel on the internet. In subnetting, a computer called a network address translation NAT device converts those private IP addresses into normal IP addresses when it forwards packets from those computers to the internet. The Internet Engineering Task Force worked on several new protocols that could solve the limited addressing capacity of IPv4, and in 1997 approved Internet Protocol version 6 IPv6 as the protocol that will replace IPv4. The new IP is being implemented gradually because the two protocols are not directly compatible. The process of switching over to IPv6 will take at least another 10 years. However, network engineers have devised ways to run both protocols together on interconnected network. Domain names. The founders of the internet were concerned that the users might find the dotted decimal notation difficult to remember. To make the numbering system easier to use, they created an alternative addressing method that used words. In this system, an address such as www.course.com is called a domain name. Domain names are sets of words that are assigned to specific IP addresses. Domain names can contain two or more word groups separated by periods. The rightmost part of domain name is the most general. Each part of the domain name becomes more specific as you move to the left. The rightmost part of domain name is called a top level domain. For many years, these domains have included a group of generic domains such as .edu, .com and .org and a set of country domains. Web page request and delivery protocols. The web page request and delivery protocols. The web is software that run on computers that are connected to each other through the internet. Web client computers run software called web client software or web browser software. Examples of popular web browser software include Google Chrome, Microsoft Internet Explorer, and Mozilla Firefox. Web browser software sends requests for web page file to other computers, which are called web servers. A web server computer runs software called web server software. Web server software receive requests from many different web clients and responds by sending file back to those web clients computers. Each web client's computer's web client software renders those files into a web page. Thus, the process of a web server is to respond to requests for web page from web clients. This combination of client computers running web client software and server computers running web server software is an example of client server architecture. The set of rules for delivering web page file over the internet is in a protocol called the Hypertext Transfer Protocol HTTP, which was developed in 1991. To initiate a web page request using a web browser, the user types the name of the protocol followed by the characters before the domain name. A user would type http www.yahoo.com to go to the Yahoo. The combination of protocol name and the domain name is called Uniform Resource Locator or URL because it lets the user locate a resource, the web page, on another computer, the web server. Electronic mail protocols. Electronic or email that is sent across the internet must also be formatted according to a common set of rules. Most organizations use a client-server structure to handle email. The organization has a computer called an email server that is devoted to handling email. Software running on the email server stores and forwards email messages. People in the organization might use a variety of programs called email client software to read and send email. These programs include most popularly Microsoft Outlook. Many people also use email on their computer at home. In most cases, the email servers that handle their messages are operated by the companies that provide their connection to the internet. An increasing number of people use email services that are offered by websites such as Yahoo Mail, Hotmail, Gmail. In these cases, the email servers and the email clients are operated by the owners of the website. Rules for computer data transmission simply are called protocol. SMTP and POP are two common protocols used for sending and retrieving email. SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, which specifies the format of a mail message and describes how mail is to be administered on the email server and transmitted on the internet. POP, Post Office Protocol, is a message can tell the email server to send mail to the user's computer and delete it from the email server. Send mail to the user's computer and not deleted it, or simply ask whether new mail has arrived. The POP provides support for multi-purpose internet mail extensions. Multi-purpose internet mail extension, which is a set of rules for handling binary files such as word processing documents, spreadsheets, photos, or sound clips that are attached to email messages. The IMAP is a newer email protocol. It stands for Interactive Mail Access Protocol, that performs the same basic functions as POP but includes additional features. Unsolicited commercial email, UCE, or spam. Spam, also known as unsolicited commercial email or bulk mail, is electronic junk mail and can include solicitations, advertisement, or email chain letters. The origin of the term spam is generally believed to have come from a song performed by the British. Besides wasting people's time and their computer disk space, spam can consume large amount of internet capacity. If one person sends a useless email to a million people, that unsolicited mail consumes internet resources for a few moments that would otherwise be available to other users. Spam has become a major problem for companies. In addition to consuming bandwidth on company networks and space on email server, spam distracts employees who are trying to do their jobs and requires them to spend time deleting the unwanted messages. Markup languages and the web. Web pages can include many elements such as graphics, photographs, sound clips, and even small programs that run in the web browser. Each of these elements is stored on a web server as a separate file. The most important part of a web page are the structure of the page and the text that makes up the main part of the page. The page structure and text are stored in a text file that is formed or marked up using a text markup language. A text markup language specifies a set of tags that are inserted into the text. These markup tags, also called tags, provide formatting instructions and web client software can understand. The web client software uses those instructions as it renders the text and page elements contained in the other files into the web page that appears on the screen of the client computer. The markup language most commonly used on the web is HTML, which is a subset of a much older and far more complex text markup language called Standard Generalized Markup Language (SGML). SGML, Standard Generalized Markup Language, established first in 1986. SGML is a meta language, which is a language that can be used to define other languages. Another markup language that has derived from SGML for use on the web is Extensible Markup Language XML, which established in 1998 and increasingly used to mark up information that companies share with each other over the internet. The X in XML comes from the word extensible. You might see the word extensible shown as extensible. XML is also a meta language because user can create their own markup elements that extend the usefulness of XML. HTML hypertext markup language was established in 1991 and the combination of HTML and XML is XHTML, Extensible Hypertext Markup Language, established in 2000. The World Wide Web Consortium W3C, a not-for-profit group that maintains standards for the web, presented its first draft form of XML in 1996. The W3C issued its first formal version recommendations in 1998. It is a much newer markup language than HTML. In 2000, the W3C released the first version of recommendation of a new markup language called XHTML, Extensible Hypertext Markup Language, which is a formulation of HTML version 4 as an XML application. Markup languages. Since the 1960s, publishers have used markup languages to create documents that can be formatted once, stored electronically, and then printed many times in various layouts that each interpret the formatting differently. GML, a generalized markup language, emerged from these early efforts to create standard formatting style for electronic documents. In 1986, after many elements of a standard had been in use for years, the International Organization for Standardization (ISO) adopted a version of GML called SGML. SGML offers a system of marking up documents that is independent of any software application. Many organizations such as the Association of American Publishers use SGML because they have complex document management requirements. Hypertext Markup Language HTML. It includes tags that define the format and style of text element in an electronic document. HTML also has tags that can create relationship among text elements within one document or among several documents. The text elements that are related to each other are called hypertext elements. HTML is easier to learn and use than SGML. HTML is the prevalent markup language used to create documents on the web today. The early version of HTML let web page designers create text-based electronic documents with headings, title bar, titles, bullets, lines, and order list. As the use of HTML and the web itself grew, HTML creator turned over the job of maintaining version of HTML to the W3C. Later version of HTML included tags for tables, frames and other features that helped web designers create more complex page layout. The W3C maintains detailed information about HTML versions and related topic on its W3C HTML working group page. The process for approval of new HTML features take a long time, so web browser software developers create some features called HTML extensions. After HTML4 was finalized in 1999, development on new version of HTML slowed to a snail's pace. Browser developers worked on adding new features to their software, and the W3C directed its effort to other matters. HTML tags. An HTML document contains document text and elements. The tags in an HTML document are interpreted by the web browser and used by it to format the display of the text enclosed by the tags. In HTML, the tags are enclosed in angle brackets. Most HTML tags have an opening tag and a closing tag that format the text between them. The closing tag is preceded by a slash within the angle bracket. The general form of an HTML is closed by closing tag. HTML links. The web organizes interlinked pages of information residing on sites around the world. Hyperlinks on web pages form a web of those pages. A user can traverse the interwoven pages by clicking hyperlink text on one page to move to another page in the web of pages. Websites can use links to direct customers to page on the company's web server. A linear hyperlink structure resembles conventional page document in that the reader begins on the first page and click the next button to move to the next page in a serial fashion. Another link arrangement is called a hierarchical structure. In a hierarchical hyperlink structure, the web user opens an introductory page called a home page or a start page. This page contains one or more links to other pages, and those pages in turn link to other pages. Website that contains a map or outlined listing of the web pages in their hierarchical order. This page is called a site map. Hybrid designs that combine linear and hierarchical structures are also possible. Scripting language and style sheets. version of HTML released by W3C after 1997 include an HTML tag called the object tag and include support for cascading style sheet CSS. Web designers can use the object tag to embed scripting language code on HTML pages. CSS are sets of instructions that give web developers more control over the format of displayed pages. Similar to document styles in word processing programs, CSS lets designer defining formatting styles that can be applied to multiple web pages. The set of instructions called a style sheet. It usually stored in a separate file and is referenced using the HTML style tag. It can be included as part of a web page HTML file. XML, extensible markup language. In the late 1990s, companies began turning to XML to help them maintain web pages that contained large amount of data. XML uses paired sheets and stop tags in much the same way as database software define a record structure. XML includes data management capabilities that HTML cannot provide. To better understand the strength of XML and weakness of HTML in data management tasks, consider the single example of a web page that include a list of countries and some basic facts about each country. XML differ from HTML in two important respects. First, XML is not a markup language with defined tag. It is a framework within which individual companies and other organizations can create their own sets of tags. Second, XML tags do not specify how text appear on a web page. The tags conveys the meaning of the information included within them. To understand this distinction between appearance and semantics, consider the list of countries which we already discussed. To overcome that weaknesses, and many companies have agreed to follow common standard for XML tags. These standards in the form of data type definition or XML schemes are available for a number of industries. A number of industry groups that have formed to create standard XML tag definition that can be used by all companies in that industry. Formatting instructions are often written in the extensible style sheet language, and the programs that read or transforms XML files are usually written in the Java programming language. These programs, sometimes called XML parsers, can format an XML file so it can appear on the screen of a computer, a smartphone, and internet capable mobile phone or some other device. A set of XML tag definitions is sometimes called an XML vocabulary. XML database in different formats for different web browser devices considered to be different from each other. Intranets and extranets. Intranet is an interconnected network or internet, usually one that uses the TCP/IP protocol set and does not extend beyond the organization that created it. On the other hand, an extranet is an intranet that has been extended to include specific entities outside the boundaries of the organization, such as business partners, customers, or suppliers. Telephone, email, and overnight express carriers have been the main communication tools for business of many years by the company. Extranets can replace many of them at a lower cost. Public and private networks. A public network is any computer network or telecommunication network that is available to the public. The internet is one example of a public network. Although a company can operate its extranet using a public network, very few do because of the high level of security risk. The internet, as you will learn in later, does not provide a high degree of security in its basic structure. A private network is a private leased line connection between two companies that physically connects their intranets to one another. A leased line is a permanent telephone connection between 2 points. Unlike the normal telephone connections you create when you dial a telephone number, a leased line is always active. The advantage of a leased line is security. Only the two parties that lease the line to create the private network have access to the connection. The largest drawback to a private network is cost. Leased lines are expensive. Every pair of companies wanting a private network between them required a separate line connection them. Scaling problem is increasing the number of leased line in private network is difficultly costly and time consuming. Virtual private network or VPN. A virtual private network VPN is an extranet that uses public networks and their protocols to send sensitive data to partners, customers, suppliers, and employees using a system called IP tunneling. IP tunneling effectively creates a private passageway through the public internet that provides secure transmission from one computer to another. The virtual passageway is created by VPN software that encrypts the packet to another. The virtual passageway is created by VPN software that encrypt the packet content and then place the encrypted packets inside another packet is a process called encapsulation. The outer packet is called an IP wrapper. The web server sends the encapsulated packets to their destinations over the internet. The computer that receives the packet unwraps it and decrypts the message using VPN software that is the same as or compatible with the VPN software used to encrypt and encapsulate the packet at the sending end. The virtual part of a VPN means that the connection seems to be a permanent internal network connection. But the connection is actually temporary. Each transaction between two intranet using a VPN is created, carries out its work over the internet and is then terminated. Extranets are sometimes confused with VPNs. Although a VPN is an extranet, not every extranet is a VPN. Internet connection options. The internet is a set of interconnected networks. Most organizations have their computers connected to each other using a network. Many families have their home computers connected to each other in a network. Mobile phones are connected to the wireless phone service providers network. These networks can be connected to the internet in a number of ways. Companies that provide internet access to individual businesses and other organizations called Internet Access Provider IAPs or ISPs usually offer several connection options. Links to the web sites of companies that offer the various types of internet connections under the heading Internet Service Provider. Connectivity overview. ISPs offer several ways to connect to the internet. The most common connection options are voice grade telephone lines. The first one, voice grade telephone connection. Various type of broadband connections, leased lines connections, and wireless connections. One of the major distinguishing factors between various ISPs and their connection options is the bandwidth they offer. Bandwidth is the amount of data that can travel through a communication medium per unit of time. The higher the bandwidth, the faster data files travel and the faster web pages appear on your screen. Each connection option offers different bandwidths, and each ISP offers varying bandwidths for each connection option. Traffic on the internet and at your local service provider greatly affects net bandwidth, which is the actual speed that information travel. When new people are competing for service from an ISP, net bandwidth approaches the carrier's upper limit. On the other hand, users experience slowdowns during high traffic periods. Bandwidth can differ for data traveling to or from the ISP depending on the user's connection type. Connection types include symmetric connections and asymmetric connections. Symmetric connections that provide the same bandwidth in both directions. Asymmetric connections that provide different bandwidth for each direction. Bandwidth refer to the amount of data that travels and the rate at which it travels. The two bandwidth types is an asymmetric connections are upstream bandwidth and downstream bandwidth. Upstream bandwidth, also called upload bandwidth, is a measure of the amount of information that can travel from the user to the internet in a given amount of time. On the other hand, downstream bandwidth, also called download or downlink bandwidth, is a measure of the amount of information that can travel from the internet to a user in a given amount of time. Voice grade telephone connections. The most common way for an individual to connect to an ISP is through a modem connected to your local telephone service provider. Ports plan old telephone service uses existing telephone lines and an analog modem to provide a bandwidth of between 28 and 56 kbps. Some telephone companies offer a higher grade of services called Digital Subscriber Line (DSL) protocol. DSL connection methods do not use a modem. They use a piece of networking equipment that is similar to a network switch, but most people call this piece of equipment incorrectly a DSL modem. ISDN was the first technology developed to use the DSL protocol suite and has been available in part of the United States. ISDN is the abbreviation of Integrated Service Digital Networks. It is more expensive than regular telephone service and offer bandwidth of between 128 and 256 kbps. Broadband connections. Connections that operate at speeds of greater than about 200 kbps are called broadband services. One of the newest technologies that uses the DSL protocol to provide service in the broadband range is asymmetric digital subscriber line. It provides transmission bandwidth from 100 to 640 kbps upstreams and from 1.5 to 9 mbps downstream. Cable modems connected to the same broadband coaxial cable that serve a television typically provide transmission speed between 300 kbps and 1 mbps from the client to the server. The downstream transmission rate can be as high as 10 mbps. DSL is a private line with no competing traffic. Unlike DSL, cable modem connection bandwidth vary with the number of other subscribers competing for the shared resources. The telephone line used to cover the vast distances between rural customers are usually voice grade lines which cost less than telephone lines designed to carry data, are made of lower grade copper and were never intended to carry data. These lines can carry only limited bandwidth, usually less than 14 kbps. Telephone companies have wired most urban and suburban areas with data grade lines made more carefully and of higher grade copper than voice grade lines, because the short length of the line in these areas makes it less expensive to install than in rural areas where connection distances are much longer. Leased line connections. Large firm with large amount of internet traffic can connect to an ISP using higher bandwidth connections that they can lease from telecommunication carriers. These connections use a variety of technologies and are usually classified by equivalent number of telephone lines they include. A telephone line designed to carry one digital signal is called DSO and has a bandwidth of 56 kbps. A T1 line, also called a DS1, carries 24 DSO lines and operates 1.544 Mbps. Some telecommunication companies offer fractional T1 which provide service speed of 128 and unwrapped in 128 kbps increments. T3 service, also called DS3, offers 44.736 Mbps, the equivalent of 30 T1 lines or 760 DSO lines. All of these leased telephone line connections are much more expensive than ports, ISDN or DSL connections. Large organizations that need to connect hundreds or thousands of individual users to the internet require very high bandwidth. Wireless connections. Company offers satellite internet connection that do not require a ports modem connection for uploads. These connections use a microwave transmitter for internet uploads. This transmitter provides upload speed as high as 150 kbps. Initially, the installation charges were much higher than for other residential internet connection services because a professional installer was needed to carefully aim the transmitter dish antenna at the satellite. Although satellite connections were the only wireless internet access media for many years, many types of wireless networks are available now. People today use internet capable mobile phones, smartphones, game consoles, and notebook computers equipped with wireless network cards to connect to a variety of wireless networks in turn are connected to the internet. Wireless connection means having a connection without a wire. More than half of the worldwide users have used a wireless device to access the internet. Bluetooth and ultra wideband. One of the first wireless protocol designed for personal use over short distances is called Bluetooth. Bluetooth operates reliably over distances of up to 35 feet and can be a part of up to 10 networks of 8 devices each. It is a low bandwidth technology with speed of up to 722 kbps. Bluetooth is useful for tasks such as wireless synchronization of laptop computers with desktop computers and wireless printing from laptop or mobile phones. These small Bluetooth networks are called personal area networks, PANs, or PicoNets. Another wireless communication technology, ultra wideband UWB, provides wide bandwidth up to about 480 Mbps in current version connections over short distances 30 to 100 feet. UWB was developed for short-range secure communications in military applications during the 1960s. Wireless Ethernet or Wi-Fi. The most common wireless connection technology for use on LANs is called Wi-Fi. Wireless Ethernet or 802.11b is the number of a technology network specification, which is the set of rules that equipment connected to the network must follow. Wireless networking specifications are created by IEEE, originally an acronym for an organization named the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. The letters are now used as the title of the organization and pronounced IEEE. A computer equipped with a Wi-Fi network card can communicate through a wireless access point connected to a LAN to become a part of that LAN. A wireless access point WAP is a device that transmits network packets between Wi-Fi equipped computers and other devices that are within its range. The user must have authorization to connect to the LAN and might be required to perform a login procedure before the laptop can access the LAN through the web. Wi-Fi devices are capable of roaming, that is shifting from one web to another without requiring intervention by the users. Some organizations including airports, convention centers and hotels operate WAPs that are open to the public. These access points are called hotspots. Fixed point wireless. In a growing number of rural areas that do not have cable TV service, or telephone lines with the high grade wire necessary to provide internet bandwidth. Some small companies have begun to offer fixed point wireless service as an inexpensive alternative to satellite service. One version of fixed point wireless uses a system of repeaters to forward a radio signal from the ISP to customer. The repeaters are a transmitter receiver device called transceivers that receive the signal and then transmit it towards users' roof mounted antennas and to the next repeater, which receive the signal and passes it on to the next repeater, which can be up to 20 miles away. The user's antennas are connected to a device that converts the radio signal into Wi-Fi packets that are sent to the user's computers or wireless LANs. Another version of fixed point wireless directly transmits Wi-Fi packets through hundreds or even thousands of short range transceivers that are located close to each other. This approach is called mesh routing. Cellular phone networks. By the end of 2010, industry experts estimate that about 6 billion mobile phones will be in the use around the world. These phones are sometimes called cellular phone because they broadcast signal to antennas that are placed about 3 miles apart in a grid. And the hexagonal area that each antenna covers within this grid is called a cell. The devices that combine the latest technology available today are called third generation or 3G mobile phones. Many mobile phones have a small screen and can be used to send and receive short text messages using a protocol called SMS, short messages services. Many companies have been great businesses potential for these wireless networks and the devices connected to them. They use the term mobile commerce or m-commerce to describe the kind of resources people might want to access using wireless devices. Thank you very much. End of the lecture.